Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, author of Visualizing Happiness in Every Area of Your Life and host of this podcast, Incredible Life Creator. And today, my guest is Miss Cathy Bogan. Hey, Cathy.
Hey, how are you, Kimberly?
I am great. I am so excited to share you with everyone. So let me just read your short bio here.
Okay.
So, Cathy Bogan, the roller coaster enthusiast of life, riding the waves of uncertainty with an excited heart and a sprinkle of anxiety, but always ready for the thrilling drops and loop de loops that life has to offer. No control, no problem. Just sit back, throw your hands in the air, and enjoy this wild and unpredictable ride called life. That's quite
Woo,
an introduction
good.
there. So, everybody wants to know you because you sound like that you're the fun person. So, tell us about you, how you started out, how you got to this exuberant spot in your life.
Well, I've always been the happy one, the one that always had the optimistic point of view. I was never a pessimist, and it was my life has been a roller coaster, but they're fun. You never know when that next loop de loop or that fall is going to happen, and you learn to ride the waves, basically. And as a childhood, in my childhood, it wasn't the best, but when I was a child, I really didn't know that. so,
Isn't
so
that a
you
wonderful
know,
thing?
yeah, the ignorance was bliss type of thing because we did a lot of moving out of nowhere. My dad would just come home and say, "Pack up, we're moving," and had gone to 22 different schools by the time I was a freshman. And you learn that making friends and having connections with people were really important, and things weren't so important because whatever we could pack in the car is what we got to take. So you really had to think, okay, this will fit, kind of, and you packed that sucker full. But there was six of us kids plus my mom and dad, and we always had just a car. There was never a trailer or anything else that got to go with us. So it wasn't until I was probably in eighth grade and I spent the night with a friend and found out that they had been in that house all their life and never moved and had gone to the same school. And it's like, what? People actually do that? But I made a lot of friends and I realized how important people really are in your life. You have to keep those connections. I still am connected with some people that I knew when I was in grade school. Found them on, if I hadn't had the internet and Facebook and everything else, I wouldn't even have known where they are. But we connected again like 20 years ago. And it's like, hey, I can't believe I found you. So people are important, and being happy, you have a choice, always have a choice of attitude. You can be optimistic and enthusiastic, or you can be a pessimist and negative. And I can't think of anybody that says, yeah, I have this great job. My boss is so negative all the time and just, pessimistic, and I just love it. No, that doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. They want that. Woohoo! This guy is exciting. He's great to his employees and everything. And that's what makes you stand out, is the enthusiastic and the positive attitudes that you have, and being able to choose the way you respond to things. Excuse me. But if you choose happy, it doesn't mean that there isn't anything going on in your life that isn't happy. I mean, people end up in hospitals. You have people that may have passed. You have accidents. You have bills that you weren't expecting. I mean, all sorts of stuff. And what got me turned around, I mean, like I said, I've always been happy and always wanted to please people. I'm a bit of an empath where I could always feel, I know my mom used to say, I can't believe I would be sitting on the sofa thinking, I need a glass of water so bad. I'm so tired, I can't get up. And I turn around and you'd be there holding the glass of water for me. And it's like, how did you know I wanted water? It's like, well, didn't you say so? She's like, no, I do. It's like, oh, okay. Well, you want water, right? She goes, well, yeah. How did you do that? So I've always been kind of an empath where I can feel that. And what really got me started on this path in trying to share and teach people how they can create habits of happy. It's a habit. You have to know how to make that choice, stay positive and stay enthusiastic through all that, and know that whatever's going on in a bad situation is temporary. How you respond to it is your choice. But if you choose to look at the bright side, I love this author called, his name is David Cottrell. There we go, David Cottrell. And
Monday morning choices.
Monday morning choices. And I love that because he always says things that you can start your week with and be positive about. And the attitude is so important. And he gives an example of somebody that had to go to a third world country and sell shoes, see if there was a market there to sell shoes. And two people went. One was positive, one was negative. And the guy that was a real negative guy came back and goes, "There's no market there." He goes, "We wouldn't be able to sell any shoes at all. Nobody wears shoes there." And the other guy comes back and goes, "Oh my gosh, there is a market there. Nobody wears shoes. So we have the whole, community to sell shoes to." So it's all the attitude, the positive attitude and the enthusiasm that's there. And it's been so long now, probably 15 years ago, my brother, who helps me some with my business, was really down and out, and he wanted to call it quits. And he called me up and said he was going to shoot himself. And it's like, oh no, you're not. You come out and you stay with me. And I tried everything. He did, thank goodness. He did try to do that, but the gun misfired, so he didn't have any luck, thank goodness. And he was meant to be, he knows what his purpose now is too. But when he came out, I couldn't get him to laugh. I couldn't get him to talk. I couldn't get him to smile, nothing. So I drew these little StikFriends that you see there. I drew some that were doing a little cartwheel. And I said, everybody deserves a woohoo moment. And I showed it to him and he went, "Oh my gosh, I love it." And he just started laughing and smiling. I went, "Oh my gosh." And it made me feel so good that I did something that made him smile. And he goes, "Well, we need to get this out to everybody." It's like, okay. I had intended it to just be for him, but it's like, okay. And so we were going to start a little company, and then he had a heart attack. And this is like his fourth heart attack. So he had been in bad shape anyway. And he came back I was in Nashville. He came back to Phoenix to see his doctor, got another stent put in, ended up with a pacemaker because it was so bad. And then he was going to come back. Well, 2 years later, he finally was starting on his way back so he could maybe do a business. And on his way back, he got T-boned by 18-wheeler. And his truck rolled down a hill and they left him for dead. I mean, they didn't think he was alive. And it's like, I kept calling and going, "Where are you? Where are you? Where are you?" About 2 weeks later, he goes, "Sorry, I've been in the hospital in a coma." Like,
Oh my goodness.
okay. I'm glad you could call me and let me know that. So anyway, he ended up in Florida and never did come back to Nashville, and we just kind of let it die. And then when I came back here because during that time, I had a daughter-in-law pass away at 43 with cancer. My mom had passed away. I had a heart attack and had to have a stent put in. And I thought, it's time to come home. So I came home to Phoenix, and then I had another heart attack and had that taken care of. And then I had some other major surgery that had to be done. And then the COVID hit. And it's like, oh my gosh. It's time for everybody to get happy. We have to do this. Somebody has to be happy. This has to happen. So my brother calls up like a day later, goes, "Hey sis, you want to start that happiness stuff again? I think we really need it." It's like, yeah, we do. We were on the same page. So we started it. I was going to do all sorts of stuff. We were going to do t-shirts and things, and that just didn't work because as I was talking to people and started telling them how it's a choice of ours. We can be happy no matter what. And I started making little journals, and I did things like this, inspirations and little journals. And I had my StikFriends on them as well. And all of a sudden this was important and the t-shirts weren't. And the people asked me, can you talk about this? It's like, sure, I guess. I really don't tell my story much, but yeah. And then all of a sudden I had these happy workshops. They're called Habits of Happy because it is sharing knowledge and learning to create habits of happy. and knowing that you have that choice. You know, if you want to be grumpy, go ahead. I can't help you. I've had a couple of people in 2 years. I've had two. I had one lady said, happiness. I don't want to be happy unless you can make me young again. It's like, okay, I can't do that. I have no magic powers to make you young again. Because they talk a lot to the elderly at the retirement centers. And it was like, that really caught me off guard. It's like, I don't even know what to say to you. And then I had another gal said, I don't even want to be happy. It's like, okay, why? She goes, because I just don't want to. But she wouldn't come to my happiness workshops, but she kept listening at the doorway when I was there. And after about 4 of them, she started coming in and sitting at the back. And now she's part of the group. So she did want to be happy. She just didn't want to listen to it. But so that's kind of where I made my pivot, because, you know, I'm a mom, I'm a grandma, and I love life. I love my kids, my grandkids, but I love people too. And I love to bring a smile, and choosing happiness is really, it's hard in some ways because you have to make that choice, but it's a ripple effect. If you make somebody smile or giggle, you can't help but smile and giggle too. And it's like this ripple, you know, that just keeps going on, the kindness and things that you can do that are so simple and make such a big difference in people's lives. You know, they may have woke up on the wrong side of the bed and they just don't want anything to do with anything. But all you have to do is smile, say hi, and walk on, and it makes them think. It's like, wait a minute, was she smile? You know, what is she smile? Okay, you know, or learn that if you ask how people are, how are you? And you stop and listen to them tell you how they are. It's a fabulous thing. It's fantastic. And it's all woohoo moments. Everybody does deserve a woohoo moment. So it's that aha, you know, savor those moments that you have in life and bring them to those wonderful memories and everything. Every time I do a workshop, it's all about habits of happy, but each month is different. You can find out what smells make you happy, what sounds make you happy, savoring moments makes you happy. You know, there's all different venues of the happiness circle there that you can learn and incorporate in your life. You know, one of the biggest things that will make you happy is not only gratitude, but just writing 3 things down a day. That's all you need, is 3 things a day. And they don't have to be these huge, oh my gosh, you know, I just won the lotto or anything like that. My first one every day is when I wake up. It's like, woohoo, I'm still here.
I'm still here.
That's yay. That's my first one every day. And then from there, it's a piece of cake. You know, whatever happens, whether it's good or bad in the day, doesn't make a difference. It's you learn how to deal with it. You know, you walk out, you may have a flat tire, you walk out and the battery's dead. That's not going to start the day off good for you, but you know, you have a choice to go, hey, you know, maybe there's an accident on the road or something, and I'm not supposed to leave yet. I have found that out a lot of times when you, oh, you know, I can't believe this happened. And then you hear on the news, or the path that you take, you find out the ambulance is just now leaving because there had been an accident, you know, and you're going, oh man, I could have been there. And, you know, you just have to look at all the good stuff.
Yeah. You feel better when you do.
Oh, you do. Absolutely. You make somebody smile and it makes your heart feel good. So those random acts of kindness are just awesome.
So I want to go back to the beginning where you were talking about growing up and moving 22 times.
Oh, my
Do
dad
you know?
slowed down. My sister had moved like 33 times by the time she was a freshman. He got slower as he got older.
Oh my goodness. So I think there's a key learning here, and that
Okay.
is moving that many times and being the new kid
Oh,
at
all the
that
time.
school every time. What is your best advice on making friendships quickly, finding the right friendships once you get there because you're the new person, and Some people are going to be curious, like, who is this? Some people are going to be like, she's not part of the group, so she can't get in, you know. So, what is your best advice in actually making friends when you have to be that new person or you're in new situations all the time?
Well, and see that I'll answer how I can best, but that wasn't hard for me because I loved, I just loved people. And so when I got, in second grade, I went to 3 different schools in 2 different states. So, I mean, I was new. And I always, there was always somebody, and I don't know how, but there was always somebody that would either look at me in a friendly way or say hi or whatever, and we would connect, and then from there you could connect again. But I never was a very outward, hey, how are you, what's your name, that kind of stuff when I was a kid. But I always was open to the friendships that were offered, I guess would be the best way. You look around and you have people that were little cliques and would give you dirty looks and, what are you doing here and who are you, and look at your clothes or whatever. I would never pay them any mind. It's not, those weren't the kind of people I wanted to be with. So I would always look for people that were just either hanging out by themselves too and say, hi, I'm Cathy, and what's your name? And just get a friendship going. I know there was lots of times, I don't know why, um, there were people that, girls, not people, but the girls, especially the older ones. Like I remember in 4th grade, I don't know what I did, but there was this group of older girls. They were in 5th grade. For some reason, they didn't like me, and they would always get me in the bathroom and try to beat me up. And I have 4 brothers, and my entire family was like in construction. So, and we were raised on different farms. So I'm not a petite, oh, that kind of, I mean, I got big hands. I was pretty tough. 1 older brother, 3 younger brothers. So I got to learn how to fight. And but I didn't like to beat anybody up. But I could make them afraid of me by there was one day I had long hair and they came in and they grabbed my hair and they were trying to spin me around them with my hair, and I was just flying into the stalls and the bathroom sinks and everything. And it's like, what, why are you doing this to me? And it's like, we don't like you. It's like, you don't even know me, I'm not even in your grade, why are you beating me up? And uh thanks to my brothers, I grabbed the hands and I pulled the person down and headlocked her. I was really good at headlocks. I was always good at headlocks. But it's like, look, leave me alone. I don't even know your name. I don't even know who you are. But if you do this again, I'm going to really beat you up, which of course I never did. But it would scare them enough that they would leave me alone. So every once in a while, there were bad people. And, trying to get out of that situation as a kid, especially not knowing why they didn't like you, I just really stayed away from those people. I really enjoyed school. I was a straight A student. I loved to learn. And you always found a group of girls that would just, I know in high school, there was like 7 of us, and none of us liked the other cliques because they were so snotty. And we were the ones that loved school, loved the boys, loved the school, and liked to just have fun. We played sports and we did this and did that. And you find people who have positive attitudes and are enthusiastic are like magnets to pull in other people that are positive and enthusiastic. So if you just bide your time a little bit, whoever is like you will become evident, and you can just say hi, so what sport do you like, or what do you like to do, or whatever it might be, and it seems to just flow. And that was my experience, and I think it's probably because I had to meet so many new friends all the time, and not know them. I never had like 20 or 30 friends. I always had a nice group of 4 or 5 friends that we all hung out and played, and played sports, played whatever. And I liked all my friends. They were good people. And I think you attract what you are. Your attitude towards somebody is the attitude that you're going to spread So you want to make sure that you have a good attitude and positive, and that's what you're going to pull in. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
So this is kind of an add-on to that question, but you know, so you were going to all these schools, finally get to high school. I don't know how many high schools you had to go to.
I only had to go to one because by then my dad had left and my mom stayed in a house. So I
Okay.
got to go to one high school.
So when you got to that point in your life where you were choosing who you were going to date or who you were going to marry,
That
how
was
did you do
probably
that? Well, how did you choose that person that could go
well,
along with your happy?
it's I have kind of a background. I was married early and divorced young and then married again. I've been married now for 35 years, so the right guy.
Mhm.
But when I married young, and it was really because I wanted to get out of the house. I was one of those people where I was so tired of the, even though my dad had finally left, my mom was struggling because she was a single mom, and she had been a single mom half of our lives anyway, with him gone, um, because he would just up and leave too, and never come back. And then 3 or 4 months later, he would come back. And based on that, I have a story to tell you about angels in this world too. These kind of people are the ones that stayed with me in my lifetime. We were young. I was very young. I think I was probably, I don't even know if I was in kindergarten yet, but I remember this like yesterday. We had been living somewhere. Okay, I remember things explicitly in some areas. I don't remember towns and places and things like that. We were somewhere in California and had been like 3 months somewhere. My dad had a job at a farm that was at a different, city. Then we moved, and we lived in a hotel, one of those little apartment type of hotels, single story things. And we stayed there for 3 months. And then he took off. And he had told us that he was going back to the farm. Well, he hadn't been there for 3 months. He never went back to work. And my mom was, bless my mom. I don't know how she did half this stuff. I was probably days, to like 3 or 4 days to get to where we had to go. And she thought he went back to that farm. So she went back to that farm, and she had been driving nonstop for probably like 36 hours. I mean, none of us knew how to drive. We were all young. And we got there. All of our furniture was on the porch and at the dumpster so it could be taken away. Somebody else had been hired and lived there. And these people were angels, I swear. We came in, my mom and 6 of us kids, and she's like, "What are you doing in my house?" And that lady and that man said, "No, this is where we live." She goes, "No, it's not. My husband works." I mean, she was just out of it. And they go, "Let's get you in bed so you can sleep. We'll feed you in the morning and we'll talk in the morning." And those people fed us, let us stay in their beds, talked to us, and they let us stay for over a week while my grandpa, who lived in Phoenix, could travel up and come get us. And they took care of us. They had a teenage son. That was just so much fun. He was showing us all around the farm and all that kind of stuff. So when my grandpa came, they and my grandma, they came, they loaded up stuff in the truck and took us back, and that was part of that journey. But those people I never forgot. I wish I knew their names, but I never forgot them. They were so nice. I mean, they didn't try to call the cops or anything. They knew my mom was just so tired and overwhelmed with 6 kids and all this other kind of stuff, and they just took us in. It was like, I don't know who they were, but they were there for a reason. And so that kind of stuff was always going on. So by the time I was in high school, I was just kind of tired of my mom. Bless her heart. I'm so sorry, Mom. But she was always a very negative person, which is why I think I turned out very positive, because everything was wrong with her life, and everything was wrong with her life, but she couldn't let it go and become a positive person and choose things. She just thought everything sucks. This is a bad life. Nothing's ever going to get better. And she was just always bitter. And I thought, no, I don't ever want to be that way. So when I was in high school and somebody said, "Hey, I love you. Do you want to marry me?" It's like, heck yeah. You know, yes, I do. That sounds good to me. And so I did. And he really wasn't the love of my life or anything like that. And we stayed married for 10 years. I had 2 kids with him, and the kids were definitely worth it. It was, they're awesome. But ended up divorced for 3 years, and then I met my current husband, who I've been with for 35 years, and it's awesome. So, there's just I think if you're trying to get away from a situation, and like I did, you really want to make sure that your choices are right. That's why we have choices to make. Had I sat back and just thought about things, and but I didn't have to get married. I got married at 17, but I didn't have to. I just wanted to. Didn't have my first kid till I was 19. So there was no have to there. But it was one of those things where I was at the point, being a teenager, so like, I just want to get out of here. And that was really not the right decision. And, we can't change the past. I mean, we just can't. Nothing can be changed. So you either learn from it, or you grow from it, or you get bitter and a negative person about it. And I just can't do that. Through all that, my kids are so awesome. They are so awesome. And they're just, a blessing to me. So that was worth it, and I can't fault my ex, because I made that decision too. And so my advice for anybody that's young and they want to get out of the house, just get out of the house. You don't have to get married unless you just are in love with somebody. That would be it. Sorry, I have to get a drink.
Well, what's really interesting is how we use pain. We can use pain to get us motivated to move in a direction that we want to move in, or
Hmm.
we can use pain as an excuse to not do anything, or
Hmm.
we can get sitting, like, that example of the dog who's sitting on the nail and he's just howling. And somebody said, "Why is your dog howling and he's not stopping?" And the owner said, "Well, if he'd get off the nail, he'd stop howling. He's sitting on this nail."
I
So,
like that.
it's really critical how we use the pain in our life. So the pain can push us forward to the next level where we want to be, or the pain can push us down
Down.
lower than, like where your brother said, I don't want to be here anymore. So obviously something in his life was too painful to handle, and so he just
Hmm.
wanted an out. So I think it's really important
Right.
to look at pain and how we use it, and be really aware of how we use it.
And I agree with you 100%, because pain is almost like a fear. Fear makes you do weird things too. And,
Hmm.
and pain is the same way. And you can use it for negative or positive. And I think that, um, I have a sister, and she's older than me, and her husband just passed away in August. And she's just overwhelmed. Everything just happened so fast. He wasn't sick, and he died within 2 weeks after being in the hospital, just out of the blue. And that has taught me a lot about happiness in life and everything. The one thing that she has taught me that makes me laugh is because I really do care. I really do care about people. And when I ask how you doing, I really want to know how you're doing, especially if I know you're going through something tough. And when all this happened, I said, "Well, how are you doing?" And she's like, "If you ask me that again, I'm going to pop you." She goes, "My life sucks. It just sucks right now. I don't know how I'm doing." And it made me think, that this has taught me a lot through these last 6 weeks with all the stuff that she's been going through. And it's like, you know, if you don't know the person, you really want to be careful on asking them how they're doing, because you don't know what's going on, and especially if they're bitter about something. I've met a lot of people in my life that have taught me to be more aware, more empathetic in things before you ask questions on certain things, or just the simple "How are you doing today?" Don't make it so lighthearted, because they may be really having a bad day. And I learned this from her, and I learned it from a gal that was my boss. She was just so mean all the time. It was like that thing I just said, this mean person, this person. Oh yeah, it's great to work here. Well, no, it wasn't.
Mhm.
And I was older. I was in my 30s, and I had this, and she was just awful. So one day I got up the gumption to go, have I made you mad about something? Did I do something that made you angry? And she's like, no, why? And it's like, well, because you're not very nice. And she's like, what? It's like, well, you're not. You're so mean. And she really didn't realize it. And she told me this horrific story about her son that just died like 2 years. I mean, she'd been like that for like 2 years, but it was this horrible, horrible accident. He worked at a machine shop, and he was up on something where it cut, and it cut his legs off, and nobody could get to him in time, and he bled out. And he was young, and I thought, oh my gosh, I might not be a very nice person if that just happened to my kid too. And so I heard her story, and I thought, man, she's still working. She still has the rest of her family to support and all this other kind of stuff. And I had to hand it to her for that. And I said, well, I mean, what do you even say? Obviously, you're sorry. But she actually took that and ran with it legally, got OSHA involved and everything, so that wouldn't happen to anybody else again, because that machine should have shut off when whatever happened, and he went up there. But it didn't. It kept going, and it got him. And so that was something that was a real eye-opening thing too, that you never know what their stories are. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. And sometimes when I talk to my workshop people, I have so much fun because they're all elderly people. They're from like 80 to 102. And when you ask them what makes them happy, the older ones, it's like, I'm just happy to be here. I mean, they are so thankful that they're that old, and they still have they can still think, and they still have family. Some of them have had kids that passed away, but I mean, that always hurts. You don't deal with it. You accept it and get past it, but it's always there. And they're the first to tell you, man, my life has been good, even though I've lost this son or this daughter or whatever. And especially if they're 102, they've outlived everybody, and it's amazing. Their stories are so fascinating to listen to. And they all have little anecdotes and jokes that they tell me. Bad dad jokes is what they tell me, but they're so funny. I had a gal that was 93 the other day tell me this story about a little joke that said, she goes, so what does the janitor say when he comes out of his closet? It's like, I don't know what. She goes, supplies.
Oh my goodness.
It's like, oh, okay, that's cute. But they're all so terrible. They're just like that. And but it's so fun listening to the elderly tell jokes like that, and they just have a blast. So listening to people and listening to their stories, they have so much that they've been through. Those are the people that have life knowledge, and I hope that I have life knowledge that I can share with people as well. And I've taken courses, and I'm a happiness coach and all this other kind of stuff, but I don't think that means near as much as wanting to create habits for people, or sharing how they can create habits to make their life happier every day.
Exactly. Yeah. And when you working with these older people, the word resilience comes
Yeah.
to mind, you know, that they're still there. They're still in their own mind. They're still can
Mhm.
think and everything. But gosh, to get to 100, you have to be awfully resilient with all the things that can happen in life.
Oh yeah, and this one gal I met like 3 weeks ago was 102, and there was this gal that came up to me with this shirt on. She goes, "You notice my shirt?" It's like, I just thought it was a cute shirt because it had all these flowers. I said, "Well, yeah." She goes, "Well, did you read it?" Sorry, no, I didn't. And she was 99, and somebody had given her a shirt that said 19, see, since 1924, 19, whatever her date was, 1924, 99 years of perfection. And
Oh.
I thought, that's really cute. I said, that's awesome. So when do you turn 100? That's going to be awesome to have that as a shirt. They need to get you one every year now.
Uh-huh. That's a
And
great
so,
idea.
yeah, it was really a cute shirt. So, yeah, resilience definitely, and getting through things, making sure human connections are so important for the elderly too, because they lose their family members and friends and everything. And one of the things that will keep you happy is keeping connected. And one of the things is writing something. Just do a card, write something nice about somebody that is there with them, and give it to them,
Mhm.
and then share the story and why uh, this one gal makes cookies for everybody. So like every day she brings down fresh cookies, and everybody loves them. They all love her for that. And so when I said, well, if you're going to do a card for her, what would you say? And everybody's like, thanks for the cookies. They make us so happy. They taste so good. So there's always something there you can share. uh Laughter, card games, memories, just bring it all in together and share it. You have to learn how to share those memories, those things that you have learned, the 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 connection with your friends is just keeps you going. It's very well, it takes the stress off. It makes you are resilient. You are uh people notice when you care. And if you care, it could just be bringing a cup of coffee to somebody in the morning, opening a door, helping them with their groceries. Any little thing really is noticed in those kind of places, especially. And I had a little gal the other day that was picking out little gifts for all her workers, as she called them, the people that work at the the diner and the people that cleaned her room and everything. Because she goes, they never let me give them any tips, and I think they deserve it because they just take such good care of me. So she's buying all these little things. It's like, don't tell them, and they'd come by and she'd go here. I mean, she made the day so fun. It was so much fun having her do that, and she was just having a blast. So it's all the little things that really make people smile. That kindness that is the ripple effect, and it just keeps paying it forward and paying it forward, and you have no idea how many people you made smile by the one smile you gave that morning.
Mhm. That's so true.
you know
So this has been a wonderful conversation, but I
Thank
would like
you.
people to actually be able to, connect with you. So if people wanted to connect with you, I know you have some, courses and things coming up. So at this point, just say, what services, what things you have available happening right now, and how can people connect with you?
Okay, they can always go to my website. It's actually being redone right now, but it should be. It's up and running, but there's not a lot on there. But you can still go there, see what I have. StikFriends.com, STIK. There's no C in there because we had to make it different.
So
But I do the
stickfriends.com.
workshops.
Mm-hmm.
StikFriends.com, and I do workshops. They can give me a call. I do have a work number that they can call. It's 480-253-9545, and we can just connect that way, and then I can set it up. I do businesses that have employees that maybe they want to reinvent the wheel a little bit and make them happier where they are. I have all sorts. I do vendor events sometimes, but I do the little happiness journals. I do other little journals. I do cards. I make up my own cards. I have small ones. I have little. These are called junk journals.
Uh-huh.
They're so much fun. And then I actually have a book coming out in November. Well, there it goes. These are some of my big cards that I do with my stick friends on it.
Mm-hmm.
Smile, happiness looks gorgeous on you. Everything is happy or inspirational, I'm hoping. And at least it is in my mind. But I have this little book coming out for kids called Crutch. And he's a little snail on crutches. And we're so excited. I am so excited about him. I did all the little illustrations in here. He's got all sorts of little stick friend guys in there. And he's going to swim. And the moral of the story is it doesn't matter if you have some kind of ailment or handicap or disabled in any way. You got friends, you got it made, man. You can make your dreams come true. So they'll help you in every way that they can. And we're even going to have a little plushie with
Oh,
him. He's coming out with a book as well. So we're excited about Crutch because he's on crutches. And I'm really excited about that because I've worked a little bit with autistic kids too, because every kid needs to smile and be happy. But I really have this hankering to get kids involved in how they can, talk about stuff and learn stuff and create their own habits that would make them happy. You see these kids that are, at cancer centers, and the autistic kids, and they struggle so much, whether it's through therapies that they're doing or schools that they have to go to. And I think with positive, enthusiastic, just enjoy the ride while you're here type of thing, and no matter what, you got friends, they'll help you do whatever your dream is. Your dreams can come true. And I really look forward to expanding more into the children's realm of things as well, and to the corporate world and more of the retirement centers, because the elderly are just they're so much fun. They're just a blast. Their stories are just, there's so much. And a lot of them have had their spouses die that they were married to, like, for 65 years or 58 years. And there was one gentleman, I have to share this with you real quick. He had just lost his wife like 3 months prior to me going there for a workshop. And of course, he was still sad, and he kind of cried as he was talking, but he goes, I can't complain about anything in my life. He goes, I had a great life. I got to grow up on a farm. I had a horse. I married my childhood sweetheart. We were together for 58 years or 65 years or whatever. We had great kids. And yeah, she's gone. But you know what? I realized she left such a legacy, and so many people that loved her that I didn't even know about. How could I be sad? And I thought, wow, you need to write a book.
mm-hmm.
He was so cool. And I thought that was just a wonderful, thing to say. That, and he goes, and she just passed away, 3 months ago or whatever it was. It's like, wow, that's awesome. But they were so in love and had such a great life as far as he was concerned. It was perfect. There's nothing to complain about. And he wasn't going to. He missed her. He was always going to miss her, of course. But he goes, she just was a wonderful woman, and I can't be sad about anything in my life. It's like, wow, that's really, really cool. So you learn that stuff from those guys,
So now I want to ask you a personal question. What gives you
Okay.
happiness and fulfillment in your life right now?
Oh, well, it's really hard to pinpoint that, because I think the gratefulness and kindness in my life, wonderful people that I've run across in my lifetime, I think about now and then. But right this very minute, I am just, like I said, I'm so happy to be here. That's the first and foremost thing. And I look back and it's like, okay, so 2 heart attacks and major surgery, and I got this thing that I have to deal with all the time called vasospasms, which is Charlie horses around my heart, that there's nothing they can do about it. I just have to learn to live with it. And they're not fatal usually. So it's like, okay. So, carry nitro with me all the time. And I think, wow, that's okay. Because I was in a couple car accidents when I was a kid. My mom thought I was dead on one of them because the car rolled over on me. And I was the youngest one at the time, I think, or maybe one of my younger brothers was born. But my sister always tells me, yeah, she's yelling at me, where's Cathy? Where's Cathy? And they found me under the car. It had rolled over, and I was under the car. And she pulled me out. She thought I was dead. I had all this red stuff over on me. Found out it was transmission fluid. And I sleep really calm and solid. And I guess when they finally tried to get me awake, it's like, leave me alone, man. I'm sleeping. I was only about 2. But so I lived through that. There's a couple other things that I've lived through, and I'm doing great with my heart. And I think my life is blessed. I've got great kids. I've got a great life. There's things that I deal with daily, just like everybody else does. And it's like, I don't care. That's not what defines me. What defines me is what I want to do, my purpose in life, and who I am through family and friends. And, I've got great siblings. I'm here for them. They're here for me. And I've got two great little dogs, and my kids are great. It's just life in general. And I love what I do. I really love what I do. I can't stop. I wake up in the middle of the night going, oh, I should do this. I mean, I just thought I need a little jar that people can reach into, and they need to write all these happiness things down and put them in. It's going to be called a happiness jar. And then when they're feeling not happy, they can pull something out and go, oh yeah, I have a great family, or, joyful, or whatever it might be that they want to put in there. And things just keep popping in my head. So obviously I must enjoy it. So it's just, I don't think anything is ever perfect. And, I am older. I wish I would have done this when I was much younger, but I don't know if I would have been ready to do it when I was much younger, because I didn't go through all this stuff. So it all ends up being the way it should be. And as long as I can wake up in the morning, be grateful that I'm here, and know that I have a choice no matter what's going on, that I can choose to be happy, deal with whatever is not going right, and just continue on. Like my sister, and I didn't tell you, she's also been diagnosed with breast cancer, and she had to put all that off to deal with her husband that ended up not going so well. So now she still has to do her surgery. And so she's got all this stuff going on, and she just keeps on trucking. And it's like, man, my sister's my hero. I don't know if I could have done all that in the last 6 to 8 weeks of everything that she's done. But yeah, I can't wake up and go, oh, this life sucks. It couldn't happen. Even if it was a bad day, it doesn't. I've got great husband, great kids, great grandkids, and a great business that I do because it makes people happy.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today, and for all your wisdom and your stories.
Thank you. It was fun. I enjoyed it very much. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the new year. It's going to be awesome. I think everybody is looking forward to it. So a wonderful rest of the year. Happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, however you do it. I think it's a joyful season. And I think people are ready they want to be happy. I think everybody wants to be happy now. We've had our mess of years behind us with the sicknesses and everything going on. I think it's time. It's really time.
Yeah, yeah. So I have one last question before we complete.
Sure.
What is your best advice on living an incredible, amazing life?
My best advice, I really think it's going to be, it's got to be, you choose positive and be enthusiastic, but you have to be kind. I think a kind heart and kind things have such movement in the world. If you are kind, so many things happen in a good way. That ripple just doesn't stop. So I think if you are positive, enthusiastic about life and everything that you do, and you have that kindness in you, that's the way to be happy and fulfilled. And on the other side, you do have to know your purpose. I think if you want a happy life, you have to know why you're here. You have to know what your purpose is. And that's also part of it. It's kind of like baking a cake. You got to have all these little ingredients to make sure it's a happy, fulfilled life, because it doesn't just happen. You have to choose. I know I was reading a thing about Coca-Cola, and I didn't know this. He was working on a headache pill, or something to get rid of headaches. He wanted a pain reliever for headaches, and it just wasn't working. It wasn't working. And it was months, and he left the thing in his lab, thought he'd get back to it later because whatever he was doing just wasn't working. And he came in one day, and the two lab techs were drinking it. And it's like, what are you doing? He goes, we really like the flavor. We just added water to it and it tastes pretty darn good. He's like, what? So he tasted it. He thought, hey, this is good. And then he carbonated it. And there you go. It's Coke instead of a headache reliever. You just got to be enthusiastic and positive and think good things, make those choices, and know that failure is just one step closer to being a success. Know that there are rough times. It's life. It's not a, what do they call it? A Pollyanna type world. There's going to be something that happens, and hopefully we can get through it and be positive afterwards because we've learned from it. But I think being an enthusiastic, positive attitude person with that kindness wrapped all up in it as well, then you're going to be a happy person.
All right. Thank you so much, Cathy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This has been great. It's been such a pleasure. I really appreciate it.
Yep. And we'll talk to you again soon.
All right. You have a great evening. And if I don't talk to you before Thanksgiving, have a great Thanksgiving.